Today, we'll be talking about market research itself, understanding the key concepts of it, how to actually apply market research to ad creation. And then, like I said, there was a lot of questions and challenges that people brought to the table to me. So we're going to be diving into those as well. Now, quick little kind of mindset framing exercise we're going to do real quick before we get started today. First thing I want to do right now is just ask y'all this very simple question real quick. What will happen if I surround myself with people that smoke and drink? What will happen? Drop a comment in the chat right now. You think I'm going to start drinking and smoking? Or are you going to think I'm going to be a sober bean the whole time? Shaz says 100%. Anyone else? Yep. We'll pick up the same habits as them. 100% correct. Now, what happens if I surround myself with millionaires? What's going to happen? If I'm in Monaco and meet all the millionaires, billionaires, get to go on their yacht, hang out with them for the weekend, talk to them and stuff like that, what's likely going to happen? There we go. Level up. Everything you'll touch will turn into gold. More likely to become at least a millionaire. Wired to be one. You'll become one of them. Absolutely. And then last thing, what happens if I go to the gym every day and surround myself with people that literally like work out hardcore every day, track their nutrition, all of that good stuff like that? You'll get fit, shredded. Okay, so moral of the story here that I'm trying to articulate to you guys is that you are a byproduct of your environment. And when you do market research is the difference between going hang out with millionaires and stuff like that and doing the right thing versus not doing any market research at all and basically like drinking and smoking. Like it's not going to be anything productive at all. So when I put myself in a position for the ideas to happen, that's where those ad ideas come from. And this is going to be something very critical we're going to be talking about today with research, where it's like there may not be an exact, like, hey, I want to find something for research based off of this. And you may not find it exactly how you intended, but just being in the right room is where the idea is going to stem from. And when you constantly push yourself and put yourself in that mindset of researching daily, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 5 hours, when you constantly put yourself in that room, like I said, it's like constantly putting yourself in a room with a bunch of millionaires or a bunch of people that are working out hardcore every day. What's going to happen? You're bound to get ad ideas that scale. And that's just the first thing I just need you guys to understand of why we do it daily. Even if I don't have anything like to actually specifically research, I'm still going to put myself in that room because that's when the best idea is going to happen, when I least expect it, or when I'm not looking for anything, specifically to research. And I mean, pretty much all of y'all already know this, but for any new people in the group, literally all of my best ads come off from research. And the level of which you understand your audience is the level of which you can write an ad. So like, for example, if you like research one day, you will write some decent ads. But if you research for 30 days straight, like your ad ideas are going to be significantly different than the first day. Like what I would like to tell people is like your first week of research and the ad ideas you create are going to be very, very surface level. But when you've been working with a product now for 30 days, 60 days, the level of ads you're going to write are be significantly different because you better understand your customer. You have a much deeper understanding them. And the deeper you understand them, the better the ads you can write. And this is also where it's like, I almost want to take pressure off of you right now. A lot of people, when they sit down, they do research and they learn everything from me, all these important, crazy concepts I teach and stuff, they have this like weird fucking pressure where it's like, I have to make an ad that's like unaware, stage 3 sophistication, and I have to hit on all of these key things. And I need to pull all that from the market on day one from research. And it puts so much pressure on them that they can't even write. They can't even do research properly. And it's just this big mental block they create. in the beginning, when you start doing your research and you're just covering the very basic level stuff from market research, I'm totally okay with those ads not being the greatest ads, with that research not being the greatest research. And that's totally okay. It's like I'm big into boxing, for example. And like, anyone in this group right now could throw a jab, for example. If you go into a boxing gym today, you could easily go throw a jab. And like day one, you'll do it perfectly fine. But if you work that and put that more reps in for 30 days, your jab's gonna be significantly better. Same thing with this. Your first research session, your first couple ads, they're not going to be the greatest. And that's totally okay. You're going to be able to do them, but they're not going to be the best. And that's okay though. But 30 days of putting the reps in, it's just natural, like laws of the universe in a way. The more you put into something, the better things you're going to get out. And again, I see so many people in the group that get frustrated when they do one research session and they can't figure out the hidden thoughts of their customer. It's like, well, dude, you just did the first research session. Give it time, take a step back. What did you see during the research session? Make some ads around that and keep at the habit for 30 days. Because when you get stressed out in that first session and you don't you try to get the writer's block and you don't put much attention into it because you're trying to do all these other things, what's going to happen? You have a really bad first session and you never want to go back again. So if research in the beginning stages, easy, what we see, we write around and remove all the pressure of trying to meet these crazy standards when it comes to all these complex things I teach. You will be doing those complex things, but also too, you need to do some more reps to get your ability up to be able to do those complex things. So that's the first thing I just want to also frame you guys with. And again, this drives everything. All of my research drives positioning of a product in the marketplace, the angles, the hooks, the visuals, all of that. For those who don't know about market research, I think pretty much most of y'all know the importance of it, but if you don't, that's where I get all my ideas for positioning. That's where I get all my ideas for angles. That's where I get all my ideas for hooks, visuals, any weird, interesting ad idea I want to create. That's where I get all of that from there. Now, next thing is just kind of going back to the key principles of why we do research, because research allows us to understand what people want. If we understand what people want, then we know what we need to show to people. If people want to lower their power bill, I'm going to go create an ad that shows people's power bill being lowered. Then my landing page will show them how they can lower their power bill with this unique technique we have here. And then research also allows me to find those very unique angles that no one else is pushing, which creates that blue ocean for me. This is probably one of my most notable ads right here. This was a angle no one else was using for this particular market right here. And guess what? It crushed. Guess what? We found it through research. We found this ad through research. Almost every ad we've created, we found it through research. And guess what? This ad right here, this was after 45 days of researching. We found this ad on the 45th day of working with this client. That means that client paid us $10K for 30 days. All of our ideas in the first 30 days didn't work. And in the second 30 to 60 days, when we're working with this client, said, hey, look, I'm going to renew with you another month. But just being very clear here, after the first 30 days of performance, it wasn't too hot. And, we really need to bring something new. And for me, we didn't really do anything different. We just kept doing our usual research, finding ideas, and boom. And then guess what? We found this winning ad for this client. And his goal was to do, I think he wanted to do $1 million total within Q4. And we helped him do, I want to say it was $4 or $5 million total in Q4. And it's if he would have pushed that, into that contract early, and we would have never found that ad through the action and putting ourselves consistently in that environment right there, we would have never found that idea. And then guess what? It would have been bad. So just want to kind of go ahead and just really emphasize the importance of that. And the last thing I just need you guys to kind of take a step back on is that you have to be open about the ideas that flow to you. So for example, in this particular ad right here, we found this idea through a comment. Yeah, a comment on an ad. There's other ad ideas we found by a review on a competitor's website. Shoot, one ad idea that I used personally for my personal brand came from me looking at like pickup videos, like dating pickup videos to study that niche for a particular client. And I found this really cool like little technique they were using. And I used that in one of my personal brands and it crushed. So I want to remain open of how the ideas flow to me. I know some of y'all that like y'all stress, hey, do I have to do just For You page research? Or can I do like YouTube research? Or like, I only want to do research this way. And it's like, all those are technically right ways. Just go with the flow in a way. I'm giving you permission to kind of be open to that and be open about how the ideas flow to you. And I've gotten ideas for ads through all the methods we'll cover today. I've gotten ideas for ads that crushed for all kinds of different industries. I just really need y'all to remain open while also still consistently practicing the action to get those ideas right there. All right. Now, let's go and get started. We're going to be diving into, first off, just the 5 levels of research. We're going to kind of start off first with just understanding what I would say the different ways to research. And then we're going to go deeper into those different ways of research, questions, objections, and stuff like that inside of there. So before I go over these 5 levels, all of these 5 levels, I'm going to approach the same way with the same questions. Now, these are 12 questions here that I ask myself. Where a lot of people fuck up at is that they sit here and they think they always have to answer these 12 questions. I don't force these questions. Like, if I do not see what objections do people have, for example, I'm not just going to like keep researching until I find an objection. I'm just going to simply not answer it. I remember when I first did the ad plan 1.0 and I made like the different personas and I basically asked all these questions for those different personas. And then it was like, what income level are people? And it was like someone asked that for like maybe like a t-shirt brand design. And I was like, honestly, for your particular product, it doesn't matter. So for me, I only want to answer these questions as I see them. And for me, when I do research, like these are just kind of flowing through my head because I've been doing this for 10 years now. For y'all, what I would recommend, screenshot this or write it down on a sticky note and just put it by your computer every time you're doing research. Again, it's not I have to answer all these questions. It's just these are all questions that should be going through my mind right now. And the more you do it, they're going to just start flowing naturally to you. But just to kind of go over this, what do people want? What do people give a fuck about? If you literally approach any of your marketing with that mindset right there, you'll make better ads. Like literally, what do people give a fuck about? Because when you talk about things people do not care about, guess what? They're not interested. I see a significant difference on weekly call topics that I see y'all give a fuck about versus topics y'all don't care about. I've done a weekly call before where like 3 people joined the call. Right? Today we have a pretty good showing because obviously a lot of y'all cared about it and y'all either A, still struggle with it, or B, it's something you just wanted to learn a little bit more about. So what do people give a fuck about? What do people want? Very simple question. I want to make more money so I can travel the world and be an influencer online. I want to be able to hit the golf ball without slicing so I can keep up with my friends on the golf course. I want a faster car. I want to get that girl's attention. What do people want? And again, we're going to go over how you see these things, but just probably the most of like, you can ignore all 11 of these questions as long as you understand this. Like just, that's how important this one is right here. Because when you talk about things people care about, they remain interested. And when they remain interested, that's when you can start introducing your way of how you achieve that. That's all marketing is. starting off what they want, then show them how they can get what they want by just buying your product. If I want to go out tonight to a club and I want to get attention from females, then I'm probably going to want to wear Zach's clothing brand, his little denim pants that he's always promoting, because they look the coolest. Next one.
Nick, I have a question about that.
Go for
it. So in my case, I would probably start my hook, my 3 seconds of my video, of somebody in full makeup. And then I would show how they got there.
So no one wants to be in full makeup.
Or like achieve the look that they want.
That's the thing. Yeah. What do people want? Do people want to achieve a certain look? And if your product can help them achieve that look, then yes.
Okay, so you're saying through research, I'm looking for what do they want, and then I'm showing them what they want. So if they want to be confident, then you're showing a girl that's confident. You want somebody without wrinkles that's old. You're showing them without wrinkles. Okay, I get it.
There you go. What do people want? Very simple. Again, people do not want your product. No one wants any of y'all products. To be fair, none of y'all even want the inner circle. Y'all want it because it helps y'all achieve that next level in your business. That's what you actually want. This is just one of the different mechanisms you can invest your money in to help them achieve that. No one wants your product. You'll have to understand that too. No one wants your product. They want what your product can help them achieve. None of y'all want money. Y'all want what money can help you achieve. You want money because it allows you to take your girlfriend or your wife to a 5-star dinner. You want money because you like fast cars and you want to be able to buy a nice car. You want money because maybe you've always grown up financially struggling and had to be frugal, and you want to be able to experience a higher level life. So again, no one wants your product. All right. I'm not going to go super deep in all of these because they're pretty straightforward. Who are buying? So, let's just look at the inner circle, for example. I'd say probably 90% of y'all own a Shopify store. There's a couple agencies, couple lead gen people. Very easy. And I can go like a little deeper as well. I could say like 90% of y'all are Shopify stores. There's like 10% of y'all that are doing $1 million plus a month. There's about 50% of y'all that are doing what I would say 100K plus. And then the last 50% are probably doing, well, I'll tell you the last 40% probably doing somewhere between 10 to 30K a month. And then there's like that small crowd that's like 30 to 100K a month. So I can go a little bit deeper if I wanted to as well. Next one is, why are they buying? Why'd you buy the inner circle? You want to scale your Shopify store. And this is also something that kind of goes back to what they want. What do people want? But why are they buying is very similar. And then you can also look at why are they buying from a unique advantage, depending on like your customer reviews and stuff like that. So I know like I've gotten a few testimonials from Inner Circle, for example, that's like, hey, I bought this because like I actually want to be on the calls with Nick, not like some random coach that's hired out in other people's programs for Inner Circle. What are they trying to achieve? It's a big one in like my agency side, where it's like, I know a lot of our clients want to scale to $1 million plus a month. So I redid all my marketing for the agency that talks about, hey, we take stores from 100K a month to $1 million a month. I'm showing them we can help them achieve what they want. So what does your product help them achieve? Again, very similar to what people want. It's just another way to ask that question. What do they struggle with? Maybe, for Inner Circle, a lot of people come in, they're struggling to the process of creating ads. They're struggling with performance. They're struggling with how to scale, maybe stuck at some level. What do they struggle with? And another way to say this is, what do they struggle with that's preventing them from achieving what they want? That's another way to ask that question. So if you want to scale your Shopify store, for example, then what's holding you back? It's like, oh, I don't know how to create creatives that convert. Next one is, what are they currently using to achieve X? What are they currently using to scale their Shopify store? Maybe they're fucking using TikTok ads and they just started on Facebook ads, and that's why they joined this program to learn more about how to scale Facebook ads since they've only done TikTok. What do they struggle with using X to achieve X? Maybe they're using TikTok ads to scale their Shopify store, and it's like, what do they struggle using TikTok ads to achieve, to help scale their account? And it's like, well, TikTok ads limited their ad spend. What hooks pop out to me? So we're gonna kind of go back to some easier ones. While I'm doing research, if I see a particular hook that I don't know if y'all saw in the group chat, probably about a week ago, there was a hook I put where it was like 5 things to know before buying a cat. It was just like something that popped out to me while I was doing some research for one of the students, helping them out with an ad. And for me, it was like, oh, that could be a really cool, like, listicle style ad right there. It was a hook that popped out to me. And then I could literally just change that with anything. 5 things to know before working with a Facebook ads agency. 5 things to know before buying into the inner circle. 5 things to know before you scale your Shopify store. What key visuals pop out of me? So key visuals for me, this is just like, if I only had one like 3-second clip that could sell my product for someone, then what is that key visual right there? For me, anytime I post a Shopify screenshot, it gets a fuckload of engagement on Twitter. It's like, it's just the easiest piece of graphic I can do. Like, I could sit down and try to like graphic design some type of graphic for Twitter, but me just going into a random client's account, screenshotting their Shopify analytics and dropping it on Twitter with a little value, boom, crushes. It's a key visual. What locations pop out to me? So this is something big right here. Let's just like look at ecom, for example, real quick. If I was marketing the inner circle, if I go and like shoot content, like if I go shoot an ad right now for like the inner circle and I go in the middle of the desert, maybe like I'm going to Phoenix in like a month. I go out on like a trail in Phoenix and shoot an ad for the inner circle versus I just got back from Miami, specifically downtown Miami. I mean, those Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces, all of that. Which one you think would do better for promoting the inner circle? Would probably be the Miami one because a lot of people want to join it to help scale their store. And the Miami one just screams money and like luxury and stuff like that. Now, to be fair, I know there's some people in this group that don't really value that in terms of like the Miami crazy culture. But again, what locations? Another example of this is I see some people selling like a luxury clothing brand, and they'll have like someone film UGC for them, and the UGC will be like a dude in like a like a trailer park with like in a very low income area. And I'm like, bro, you're trying to sell a $500 jacket and you have a dude in a trailer that maybe costs $1,000 shooting content for you. It's like, you need to go vamp up the location. You need to go really shoot some content in a luxurious area. Next is, what questions do people have? This one right here, you'll see a lot in like comments of the like product and everything like that. And then, what objections do people have? Again, another great place you'll see in like comments and support inbox right there as well. All right, cool. So again, I would highly recommend whether y'all save this and just kind of put it on the side, these 12 questions, but these are the 12 questions you want to ask yourself while doing research. Again, you may not answer every one, and that's totally okay. There'll be some research sessions where I literally answer one of these questions, but just answering that one question is all I need. So screenshot it, print it out, put it on the side, put it in a doc that you open up every time you do research and just have it off to the side. I know, like, for me, I have an iPad, and sometimes I use that iPad as a second screen. So like I can just like put this on the iPad. But these are the questions I ask myself in my head while I'm doing research itself. Now, yes, Zach, I'm gonna drop you all the link to this whole doc once I finish the call. Cool. Next thing, I am not asking myself, what is their desire? What is their market awareness? What is their market sophistication? I do not worry about any of this until I'm done research. That's a big thing that I see a lot of people struggle with. It's like they spend 5 minutes researching and they're literally stuck researching because they can't figure out the awareness. I'm like, bro, don't worry about that right now. Right now, I just want to understand my customer. And this is how I understand my customer. This is more of a ad strategy that we deploy once we have all of this first put together. Now, technically here speaking, desire is what people want. Just being very clear here on that. Just I just want to frame it in a different way, just as I know this is what y'all usually like to look at right here, which again, that's what we teach. So now, while we're doing research, all I want you to do is simply relax and consume. I'm literally giving you permission to sit down on your computer and just scroll through things. Like, you don't have to write anything. You don't have to answer anything right now. You're just simply consuming. That is it. Consuming. There is zero work on your side. Like, literally, the only work you have to do is follow these other couple things, like go to these websites, and that's it. But other than that, you are simply consuming. You can relax, sit in a nice chair you like, sit on the couch, have a cigar, have a whiskey, whatever you personally prefer, and just relax and consume. And while you're consuming, you're being cognizant of these questions because this is where you're going to start getting your answers when you're consuming. And then all I'll do is while I'm consuming is I'm going to sit down and just have either a pen and paper or like a Google Doc, which I'll show you all the Google Doc in a little bit of how I kind of do like my initial research. That is it. Now, let's go into what we need to consume next. All right, let me check questions real quick. Cool. All right. Now, let's go into what do we need to consume? So we have 5 levels of research. Level 1, this is your own reviews. So this is where we're looking at all of our, I call it our assets. Reviews on your website, reviews on your Trustpilot, reviews on your Google listing, reviews on your ads, your own reviews. Good ones and bad ones, because bad ones allows you to improve your business. Good ones allow you to create better ads. So ads come from the good reviews. Bad reviews helps you improve the business. Next one is winning ads. And let me actually be very clear. This can just be any ad. It doesn't necessarily have to be winning. In fact, I'll just remove that. This can just be any ads. I personally go to the winning ads because those will get the most spin. As they get the most spin, spin creates comments and reactions and likes. A lot of people think comments, reaction, likes create spin. It's actually spin creates comments, reactions, and likes. So if ad's getting a lot of spin, likelihood what's going to happen is we're going to have a lot of comments. If I look through the comments, then that's when I can see things like questions, objections. I can see things like people tagging each other and saying, hey, we should do this on girls' night next week. I can see people saying things like, oh, will this work for my dog? I get to see all of those comments. And those are a beauty. I love those things a lot. Now, to be fair here, for people that are brand new, just starting out their brand, those brand new feedback, what's likely going to happen is you probably won't see too many of those ads, those comments right away. Because it's a byproduct of spin. Next one is customer feedback. And this can also technically be like reviews and everything like that. But this also can be what I would say, like people doing like your questions, like sending you support inbox questions and stuff, any type of post-purchase customer surveys and things like that. But support inbox, we can also get a lot of good stuff there. Cool. Someone mute their mic. Let's see, hold up. All right. Next one, selling the same product as you. So let's just say, for example, I run a Facebook ads agency, I sell an agency. Uh, I'm gonna go look at other agencies because specifically Facebook ad agencies, not Google ad agencies, not TikTok ad agencies, other Facebook ad agencies. Now, this one will be a little harder because they're probably not gonna have too many reviews and stuff, but I can learn a lot of those questions that we talked about right here from just talking to other people that use other agencies and stuff. I can hear about it online, stuff like that. But let's just say for a lot of y'all ecom people, it's like, let's say for example, you're selling a golf club, for example. I could go online, look at other golf club manufacturers and other just like golf club listings online. I can go look at Facebook ad libraries, all of those good things right there. So other people selling the exact same product as you, and you want to go through their ads library, their reviews, both good and bad. Looking at reviews for your competitor is really good to look at the negative reviews because that allows you to see where your product might be superior in the marketplace. Now, next one is selling other solutions. So for me, I run a Facebook ads agency. I sell the solution of helping people make more money with their Shopify store. What are other solutions on the marketplace that help people make more money with their Shopify store? There's email marketing agencies. There's Google agencies. There is CRO agencies. There is, like specifically just creative agencies. There's a lot of other different types of agencies that help Shopify stores make more money. There's AppLovin. There's, technically even to some level of degree, like no commerce, for example, which we'll be talking about today, which helps you better understand your customer. So what are other solutions? If you sell, this is also where it's important to understand the desire that you want to go after. If you want to go after the desire of making more money, for example, just in general, not specifically to Shopify store owners, just in general, make more money. There's so many different solutions. I could go get a job. I could start my own ecom brand. I could go and start like Airbnb hosting. I could go and like become a stock trader. All of these are different solutions, all still selling that's to that same desire. So for this one right here, you really want to look at the desire or the problem you're going after. And what are the different solutions for that desire or problem? And allows you to dive into, again, all their assets, their ads, their reviews, landing pages, all of those good things that you can publicly see online. Now, next one is problems that people are searching to solve. This is where instead of looking at other brands now I'm starting to look at like going on YouTube, Reddit, and I'm just simply searching the problem that people are dealing with. So if you struggle with diabetes, for example, or if you struggle with high glucose, which is a symptom of diabetes, then I'll go on Google and search up like, diabetes, how to lower glucose, natural ways to solve diabetes, for example. I'm just simply searching those problems that we've recognized through our research. And I'm just searching those things. Now, where do you find those problems? That's when you're looking at like solutions, for example, and people selling the same product as you in reviews. This is where you can learn about those problems in just terms of like someone might comment like, hey, this helped lower my glucose for my diabetes. Then I can go and start looking at just that problem itself and start searching it on Reddit, Google, YouTube, all of those good things. And then lastly, this is just content in your niche. And this is more of like your unaware market. This is where you're looking at broad niche topics. So like, let's say, for example, if I wanted to go and make an unaware ad for a Shopify store owner. So unaware, that's a big win. So what could be a really big win for a Shopify store owner? How I bought a Lamborghini with Shopify. How I how a click of a button found me $50,000 a month for my Shopify store. Or a hidden fear. I almost had to go back to my 9 to 5 until I discovered this about my Shopify store. Just general content. And through browsing this general content, I can start to see things like what do people want? What do people struggle with? And what are trends in the market? If you go and look at like a hashtag entrepreneur, if you go on like Instagram right now and do like hashtag entrepreneur, how many Lamborghinis and how many watches would you see? And how many posts would you see of like Dubai and Miami? I can see that a big win for a niche, specifically the entrepreneur niche, is one of those four things right there. So that's just more content in a niche. Now, before I go to the next thing, anyone have any questions around this? Okay, so everyone's clear on this. Be very clear here. Just make sure everyone understands. These are the questions that I have in my head, and these are the different avenues of research. Just being very clear on that right there. Questions
Nick,
in
I have
my head,
oh
and these are the five different ones. Go ahead, Marcus.
yeah, I have a question. Since I'm working pretty much at my desk all day, like switching between tasks can be I guess a little bit difficult, is what I found. So like what's your best like I would say like do you go to like a specific area in your house or
Well, I literally have that question written down specifically from you, and I'm gonna be getting
oh,
to
okay. Okay, thanks.
that. Nicholas, go ahead.
Just real quick, do you go through all of these levels in a like research session, or do you kind of space them out in between sessions?
Great questions. So it's rare I'll go through all of these at once. Very rare. Like this could literally be a week's worth of research right here. So
Mhm.
trying to condense that down in one hour session, fuck no.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, it also depends on where I'm at. Like for example, I have a new client that I started with today, so I have to go do my first ever research session with them. Honestly, the first research session, I'm probably gonna get through just maybe this level one right here. That's it. Now, let's say for example, I did a research session the other day for a client that we've been working with for a couple months. All of this has already been done. So then I kind of just pick one of kind of where I'm looking to go next, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like,
Thanks.
oh, I haven't checked any of our competitors' ads in a long time. I'm gonna go look at their ads. Maybe I'm gonna see if there's any new solutions on the marketplace. Like, let me give you all a great example real quick. Uh, like specifically with the inner circle. I haven't done really any research on the inner circle before. And like I decided to do some research the other day and I was like, damn, there's a lot of different inner circles now. Like almost every YouTuber has one now. And after talking to a few people, I started asking them, hey, what's some of the other inner circles you looked at? Like when I'm doing a sales call. And a few people were like, oh, this person, this person, this person. I'm like, cool. Why didn't you join their program? And they're like, well, I didn't want to join their program because they don't actually do the calls. Like they hire coaches and like you specifically do it. I was like, okay. So now like I have a to-do list item to literally go update my sales page to specifically say like Nick Theriot does the calls and stuff. It's not a coach, nothing like that. So usually for me, I'm not going to do all of these at once in one session. It'll be spaced out. And then if I'm working with a client for a while, I'll be bouncing back and forth between these. And usually the one I always do next is the one I haven't done in a long time. Because that's the most like, well, I would say neglected. And when you go after the thing that's the most neglected, that's usually where you get your next best result. Uh, Luca, you got a question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how long do you usually spend per session?
We're gonna be going over that too as well.
Cool, cool.
Rashad.
So let's assume, right? I started today and I picked, the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through reviews, winning ads, customer feedback. Um, your next step would be obviously to start writing down the ideas and then creating the creatives, right? Like you're not going to wait until you've done all 5 throughout the week and then come up with your ads.
Yeah, and that's what I want to preface all y'all with this. It's like
Okay.
if I did a research session today, I'm only going to write the ads I had with today. Now, 30 days from now, my research sessions will be a lot more in depth and I'll be writing better ads. But I just have to understand that's just a natural byproduct of me taking that action for a while. And that's why I want to remove that stress off of y'all to where like y'all can't even write anything because you feel like, oh, it needs to meet some type of standard first. Cool. All right, so we're going to go into now some challenges within research. There's a lot of challenges I see that a lot of people struggle with when it comes down to research, and we're going to be going over some other like little like facets and stuff like that. So a couple things I see a lot. How deep should I go? How do I understand customers' hidden thoughts? I don't know why people feel like luxury and like clothing has like an exception and they just like if you run a clothing brand, you like market sophistication, desire, any of that, like none of that applies to you, which is completely false. We'll be talking about that today. How to structure testing cycles effectively. So this actually came from Antoine in the group. So we'll be covering all of these now. So first things first, exactly what I said earlier. If I only can find one thing to write about from research today, I'm only going to write about that one thing today. I understand that as I do more research, the more better ideas I'm going to get. It's just a natural, what I would say, law of the universe, law of marketing. And that's okay. I want to remain open to the idea that me consistently doing more research, more will come to me that I haven't discovered yet. Like, let's say, for example, I start off with the idea for weight loss and I test an idea today on it and I have no other ideas about weight loss. And I go down another rabbit hole and I test this other rabbit hole for like 3 weeks and it crushes. Then all of a sudden, I get this new idea for weight loss that I think could do really well. Am I going to completely toss it off because I'm done with weight loss? No, I'll go test it again with that totally new idea. And that's okay. It's not like, we tried this desire, we never have to do it again. Now, to be fair though, if like weight loss, you try it again, it doesn't work again, then you wait another month, you find another idea around it, you test it again and it doesn't work, then cool. We tried 3 separate ideas for a particular thing. None of them worked. And we have another one that's performing a lot better. Then we're probably going to just stick with that right there. Understanding customer hidden thoughts. I know this is a big one right here for a couple people, which is how do you go kind of deeper into the consumer's mind? Part of it is just spending more time studying a person. Like for me, it's super easy to write about like someone who's into like Shopify and ecom because I spend so much time talking to you guys. Whereas like for one of our new clients, it's going to be around like a choking device, from a medical choking device, to be very clear there, because that could go either way. And, I don't really have anything yet to write about because I haven't done the research yet. So once you spend enough time understanding someone, you can start placing yourself in their position. And this is where you can start asking yourself questions like, how would I feel about that? How would I want to be talked about that thing? Would I agree with that statement? So I know when I do a lot of research around a particular customer type, and I go sit down and write an ad, after every sentence I write, I start to ask myself the question, would I agree with that statement? If I was the customer that's being like this ad is directed to, would I agree with that statement or object to it? If I object to it, then I'm probably gonna have to take a different route around it. And you really want to focus on that when you're like in your second revision, that creative, because in that first revision, you just want to write your rough draft as fast as possible. And usually that's where I can start digging deeper into those hidden customer thoughts. It's just having a deeper level of understanding them and just having a little bit of like kind of just human, how would someone react to that? And sometimes that's just like what the objections you see in your comments are also going to be with help shape that experience right there. Another one, post-purchase surveys. Just ask your customers. Like, I literally asked y'all what things y'all wanted to see about around market research before I made this presentation, because I wanted to try to answer all y'all questions without y'all having to ask the question on the call. How do I do that? I just asked y'all. I went on Twitter. I went on the free group, the active marketer group, and then I went into the course group and asked y'all. And I posted on YouTube. I posted in so many different spots to get as many questions as possible. So that way I could build like just literally as best as possible guide for this. But something as simple as post-purchase surveys, you can use no comments. And then a lot of people ask me, well, Nick, what do I ask people if I install no comments? Just ask them the one question you want to know. Don't stress yourself out of I need 20 questions, because to be honest, in post-purchase surveys, I only want to ask one question, because if I ask 10 questions, those last couple of questions, people are just trying to get through that fucking survey and they're just answering and saying random shit just to get through that survey. But if I just ask someone one question, and that one question I want to know, guess what? I'm gonna get a much better result. And then you can always cycle through new questions as well. So like, let's say, for example, we're trying to figure out right now, who's buying? Is it a man or a woman? Or more specifically, are people buying for themselves? Or are they buying this as a gift? I know there's a student that's in this call right now that's selling a kid's toy. And we were kind of talking about the other day, are they buying it as a gift? Or are they buying it to like, like kind of keep the toddler busy so that way they can get their stuff done throughout the house? And like, easy way to answer that, just ask the fucking customer. They just bought, hey, are you buying this as a gift for your toddler, or are you buying this so you can get more stuff done in your house and keep the toddler busy? Pretty easy. And then, as mentioned, long enough time in a market and they'll surface. So we had we still have this client. We have this particular client in the medical niche. You follow me long enough, you know this client, but we're under NDA now, so I can't show y'all that. But I stumbled upon this objection in the comments. You know, we're working with this client for about 7 months, and there was one objection that kept popping up. Boom, 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 boom. And I was like, okay, cool. So we're going to create an ad, and this ad will go through our normal ad flow. But before we pitch the product, we're going to answer this objection. Because the best way to handle an objection is by acknowledging it before it becomes an objection. So like, for example, my sales calls with the agency, I always tell people we're the highest priced agency before I tell them the price. So I'm going to tell them the price. They're like, oh, wow, you're expensive. I'm like, I just fucking told you that. Like, I'm very upfront with people. So in this particular ad right here, I call out the objection, handle the objection, and then I pitch our product. So when I pitch the product, they're like, oh yeah, cool. Makes total sense. So, but this objection didn't come from day one of research. This objection came after 6 months of working on the product. And once we started handling this objection, significant increase in performance. And it's like, oh, well, how could I have found that objection faster? To be fair, I mean, one, there was some level of like, this client was 4 years ago. So I didn't have the level of experience I have now. So if I had the same level of experience, I would probably found this now in about 30 to 60 days instead of 6 months. But the other part of it, it needed time, because the objection wasn't really on the first couple ads we made. It took a little long for it to actually start popping up in the comments. Any questions around hidden customer thoughts real quick? All right, cool. All right. Niche markets for my lovely luxury products and clothing people who think none of this applies to them. All right. First question is, where are people wearing these things and what are they striving for? So I find just from my experience within clothing brands, between coaching y'all and running ads for clothing brands now for about almost 5 years, basically. No, yeah, 5 years now. I've been running ads for clothing brands. I find that usually it's these 4 things right here for clothing brands. Number 1 is attention. How many people have y'all seen wear some type of political shirt or like very obnoxious shirt that's like polarizing to people in public? And then guess what? They get a lot of attention from it. They get more looks. They get more people coming up to them and either agreeing or like, hey, you're terrible, you know, blah, blah, blah. But attention. If you wear something very polarizing or something in public that is like a design, for example, it's likely going to get you attention from people. Next one, opposite sex attention. Meaning, if you're a guy and you want to go out and get more girls' attention, you're probably going to dress a lot nicer. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen those like memes where it's like either like a guy or a girl, can be applied for both genders, technically, where it's like a guy before he's in a relationship, he's all like dialed down to the 9 when he goes out. But then like when a guy gets in a relationship and he goes out, like he doesn't even give a fuck anymore. Like he'll wear like literally like a t-shirt and shorts to go to like a very nice restaurant. But when he was single, it was like, you know, dialed into the 9 with how he was wearing and what he was wearing and like all that good stuff right there. He wanted the attention from the opposite sex right there. Next one is status, which is pretty much just signaling to other people where you're at in your life. I mean, I have, you know, one of my, like, for example, I bought 2 Rolexes now. I don't even keep the, like, I rarely ever keep the time. I don't know if Zach, I don't know if you're still in this call. I know you have your day date. Like, I don't know if you like keep your time correct, but every time I take mine out the safe, I rarely ever change the time on it because I don't give a fuck of it being used as a clock. I use it to signal a status of where I'm at in life. And people won't tell you that, but that's the real reason why they're buying those things. They're trying to signal to other people where they are at in life from a status perspective. Now, there's good stuff to it and there's bad side to it. So a good side to it, for example, is like my Lamborghini, for example. I use it from a good perspective of like when I go to events, it's easy for me now to talk to the other wealthy people from a business perspective. As in, it opens up more connections for me from a business perspective. Now, the downside to it, or the bad way to use those materialistic things, is for things like attention or opposite sex attention, because then that's just like from a moral perspective of leading to an empty hole, basically. Let me put it in that perspective right there. And then lastly is performance, which performance, this is like, for example, it just snowed where I live right now. And, I have a jacket that's like a snow jacket. I only wear that jacket for the performance of it keeping me warm. So there's certain clothing brands where it's not necessarily a status symbol. It's not necessarily a tool to get the opposite sex attention or just attention in general, but there's a performance perspective to it. That's a big one right there. I don't know if y'all remember like Under Armour, when Under Armour first came out, like talking about like 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago. And it was like the performance aspect of it was before it had all the other, like brands into the market wearing compression clothing. There's a performance aspect to it of it being a compression undershirt for warmth. Or like if you played a sport, something like that. But then like so many other brands entered the market to where we had to go into status and like attention right here due to the competition aspect of it right there. So these are the 4 main things, whether you sell a luxury thing like a watch, or let's say, for example, luxury pants, designer pants, or if you sell jewelry, for example, jewelry is the same thing here. And then you could say even to like confidence as well. That's also another one that, I can add to that. But then it's usually like, why do you want the confidence? And it's usually for like one of these two right here. And then next thing from a positioning perspective. So the cool thing with clothing and jewelry is that your positioning comes from your product. So I use market awareness with clothing market sophistication with clothing to create my product and to build my brand identity. I think that's where like a lot of people struggle out with clothing as well. So I'm gonna give you all a great example. Back in 2000 and I think it was 2012 or 2013 is when Gymshark was first created, and it went after people specifically who just go to the gym, and more specifically weightlifters. So like gym goers in general, like I'm talking about people that go to the gym for like yoga, go to the gym for like running and stuff like that. These are just in general gym people. These are people that like Under Armour marketed to, Nike marketed to. Well, Gymshark went after people specifically who did like weightlifting and stuff like that. So if you went to the gym to weightlift, that was like your sport. That's where Gymshark first started at. And then they had some other brands start coming out, for like, okay, let's go one level deeper. There was some brands specifically for bodybuilders because there's a difference between just weightlifting and then like bodybuilding specifically. And then there was some brands that started going after like the female bodybuilders. And I don't know if y'all know, but like there's different levels of female bodybuilding. There's like just getting toned with abs. And then there's like some that's like, girls that are like super swole. And that's actually where one of my clients went. She opened up a female bodybuilder brand who competes in physique. Anyone wants to search this on their own time, female bodybuilders physique competition. This is the one where like you're putting some muscle on. So she built her brand specifically around this market because no one else was serving it. So she went to a stage 5 sophistication, which is identity marketing. There was no brands around female bodybuilders who compete in physique. So she went to stage 5, identity. Who's the next identity they could go into? And it was female bodybuilders who compete in physique. And she built a whole brand around it. She got the biggest, strongest girls she could find. She hired them all as influencers. She got a ton of content for them. She could put in the ad account, the Facebook ad account, and she scaled up to 400K a month very fast. And they crushed it. And this is literally kind of that flow of how they win. They found an underserved market. So for clothing, you're looking for that underserved market when you're kind of positioning your clothing to be different. Because if she went after weightlifters, every single person had a weightlifting brand. There's like literally one person in this call. I don't know if he's still in here, but I know he came to me originally with like a brand in the weightlifting niche. I was like, bro, like this looks exactly like Gymshark and Alphalete. There's nothing different here. You're going to struggle trying to compete. So instead of trying to compete with everyone else, I'd rather go to a smaller market, but gain that whole market where I'll still do significantly more from there. So from a research perspective, kind of bring it back to why we're on this call today. This is where I'm looking for who are those underserved markets, and can I start creating clothing for that underserved market specifically? Or, if you, let's just use Zach, for example. I know he has those denim pants. Who's the underserved market that wears these denim pants, but no one is marketing to them? That's something else I'll be looking at right there. And then lastly, unique designs, which can technically kind of go with some of this right here too. I know, for example, I know y'all seen that one client I talked about not too long ago from a t-shirt brand perspective, and they have very unique designs, and that's part of what carries their brand success, because all they're doing is selling the design. And I don't really need to communicate to people attention or like this part right here, because they just know that, ooh, I've never seen that design before, and it's really cool, and it's going to get that attention for me. It's usually when like I'm selling very basic level products, that's usually where I have to kind of really dig into some of this stuff right here, and to really help communicate some of that to people through creative. And then where are other products lacking? So I know, for example, if you look at Alpha Elite, for example, they're a great example with this. Alpha Elite, the guy who owns it, his name is Christian Guzman. And I was listening to a podcast with him, and he said that he literally went on YouTube and watched every single video of clothing, specifically women's leggings. So he's watched thousands of videos of women's leggings. He watched every single video that reviewed them, and his product and other people's products. He literally bought every women's legging on the market, and then he just kept asking himself, "How can I make this better?" And that's how he built one of the best women's leggings on the marketplace. So another thing from a clothing and also like jewelry and all that stuff like that, where I see goes wrong for a lot of clothing brand owners is that they don't do any of this and they just launch whatever they want and then they struggle. Whereas all the clothing brands we've done really well with, they hit on one of these things really well. For example, Icon, very notable for a lot of my success with them. Number one, they used very high status driven people. And I say high status driven, they used people that had a high appeal to their content. Like all their content looked fucking amazing. And they were selling, yes, very basic pants, but they were also selling with very high-end creatives that no other dropshippers could get hold to because no one was willing to spend that money. And they were showing some level of status to it. People seeing the guy that was really fit, tattoos and stuff like that. There's an identity aspect to it as well. Now, to be fair, there was some level of performance because the pants did actually like look good, and like specifically fit good for people that are like, I don't know if anyone like works out a lot, very well fit. Like it actually makes it difficult for some of the pant selections you could have. So there was this aspect right here of like a couple different types of people that they are appealing to at once that helped them a lot with the creatives they were creating, the models they were using and all that good stuff right there. And then last thing for our clothing brand people, show, don't tell. So if you want to appeal to, like, for example, with this girl I was telling y'all about with the bodybuilding girls, she didn't say, "Hey, bodybuilding girls, wear this. You'll look cool in the gym." She literally went pick like the most jacked girl she could find, wearing the product, looking very good in the product, and then taking some really cool video shoots and photo shoots with it. She appealed to their desire. She opened up a stage 5 sophistication marketplace, and she hit on their market awareness, which is solution aware, which is, hey, I want gym clothing. Like they know the solution. She just introduced opened up a totally new identity right there with stage 5 sophistication. So you can still hit on desire, awareness, sophistication without actually having to say it. And luxury products and clothing is very big show, don't tell. Don't tell me I'll look cool. Because honestly, like, I don't think anyone wants to hear that from a marketing perspective. I've never had an ad that's like, hey, you'll look really cool wearing this. And it's like a nerdy guy wearing a t-shirt. It's like, no, you have to show them looking cool. You got to paint that dream reality for them. If we're marketing to like if you look at like gym content, for example, all the like gym brands, these are just really good brands to study. All the gym brands are showing models that 1% of the population looks like, but they show people in those clothes because that's what people want to look like. They want to look like that jack dude. They want to look like that girl with a really tiny waist. And they show their product, those people wearing their product because they want to look like that. And it's like, oh, well, what do those people wear? Oh, that brand? I want to be with that brand right there. Any questions around clothing, luxury products? Go for it. Y'all are either getting a ton of value right now or y'all all sleeping. So I'm hoping y'all enjoying this. Go ahead, Luca.
So if not for like clothing in other products, would you also try to show the perfect person in the ad? Like, would you show the like a relatable scenario or rather a dream outcome?
So it just depends. 90% of the time it's a dream outcome. But it also depends on what you're selling though. That's where it becomes the issue rate. Dream outcome is good to use in most cases, but some products you need to show more of that relatable scenario. And typically I find with relatable scenarios is more like problem aware people. Like I know for a fact showing like better ROAS and better like Shopify screenshots, solution aware market. It's like boom, just showing them those things and boom, like that's the dream outcome. And then like I showed them the strategy that got me there. But like me showing a relatable scenario of like bad performance, it may not capture the right people, but it'll at least show me the people that's having that issue right there. So I would say test both. But for the most part, for me, it's dream outcome that works really well, unless it's a dream outcome that's really hard to show. I'm trying to think real quick. There's a product, like I said earlier, like this choking device, for example, that I'm working with. Again, medical choking device. Me showing a dream outcome is just someone sitting there breathing. Like that won't really make sense. But I'm gonna have to show a scenario that's technically it's not relatable. It's just a worst case scenario of someone choking. And then I can introduce the product, if that makes sense right there.
Totally. Thank you.
Cool. Does a home decor product fit in the luxury products, or is it mainly jewelry accessories? Yeah, so a home decor product, yes. Home decor will fit in that. All right, cool. Let's go into testing frameworks now. So quick time check. All right, cool. Testing frameworks. There's 3 key things you need to understand when you're testing things from research. Building a hypothesis. Testing one desire, and then analyzing performance. We're going to dive into all of this. So building a hypothesis. I believe if I do X, Y will happen. So when you do research, you start getting ideas. And through that research, you can start building your hypothesis. I believe if I create a hook with the desire for money, it will help me open up a new market to scale into. I believe if I iterate on that hook and use an exact dollar amount, it will make the ad more believable to my audience. This is a hypothesis. Every time we build an ad, we create a hypothesis. And the whole goal with a hypothesis is to test it and validate it. Okay, hold up. Let me mute. There we go. Next one is there is no wrong hypothesis. Again, people put pressure on themselves. Oh, if this hypothesis failed, they put so much pressure on themselves. They feel like they can't create ads. They feel like, something's horribly wrong and stuff like that. I don't want to look at a wrong hypothesis or like a test going bad as like red and green. It's just a number. That's all it is. It's what you believe from research. You test it, then you get data back. And then from here, all you do is use that data to optimize your next test. There's some of y'all who've never really had, let me actually reiterate on this. If y'all look at the 0 to 30K training I did, that's a great fucking example of this, where our first hypothesis were completely wrong and we had $100 CPA. But I didn't look at it as like, oh, we're terrible marketers. We don't know how to write ads and stuff like that. I just simply looked at it as, okay, hey, we have $100 CPA now. That's just the number. Again, I need to see a $30 CPA. So I have to bring down my $70. So that's just the number. Now let's consistently keep doing my research, gathering my new ideas, making my new hypothesis, and then from there, testing it and validating it, see if it works. And then all we're going to do is use that data to optimize your next test. Like just how the Facebook algorithm optimizes around the right audience, that's exactly what you want to do with your creatives. The more you keep testing your creatives and stuff, the better your creatives are going to get. The more you keep doing your research, the better your research is going to get. So when we're actually looking at it from the perspective of, like optimizing everything, we should all see that improving over time. And then if it's not, then that's when you can start looking at, okay, what are actions I need to be doing differently? Now, next one right here is we're going to kind of go over, I think I actually got to mess this up real quick. Hold up 1 second. All right. So for us, this kind of goes back to Anton's question real quick, which is testing. How many desires should you test? How many problems should you test? How many different personas should you test? To be fair here, all of them. But what I want to do is I want to test from a priority perspective. So like, let's say, for example, for us, let's say I go do research and I see 10 different people say they have the desire for money, and I only see one person say they have the desire for like losing weight. It's like, for me, I'm gonna start off with the most common desire first, then I'm gonna go to the least confident, which is like the one person that said they bought this for losing weight. Same thing with problems and same thing with personas. If I see 20 people say they're a mom that bought this to help their kid do X versus I see one person say they bought this for their dog, I'm probably not going to test for the dog first. So I first want to prioritize by confidence, and confidence stems from reps. Reps in confidence from like a hierarchy perspective of research stems from the number of occurrences. The more I see a desire in the marketplace, the more confident I'll be in testing that desire. The more I see a problem in the marketplace, the more I'm going to be confident in testing that problem. The more I see a persona in the marketplace, the more I'll be confident in testing that persona. Notice why the inner circle page says Shopify. Yes, I'm eliminating people that are lead gen. I'm eliminating the people that are, like on WooCommerce. It's not that I don't want those people in the inner circle. It's just literally everyone that joins the inner circle who happens to be a Shopify store owner. So I just changed it so that way it seems more like, hey, it's for that particular person. And also I have a lot more trainings this year that's sort of started gearing more now just to Shopify owners. Because for the most part, most of y'all are all Shopify owners. That doesn't mean our one-on-one calls for the few people that's not Shopify. It doesn't mean our one-on-ones won't be around what you have. Same thing with problems, right? Like a lot of y'all, probably the main problems is like trying to spend more in the account, because every time you spend more, it crashes. But like if y'all had a problem with getting ad account bans, there's not too many people in this group that struggle with the problem of ad account bans. I mean, to be fair, there's still enough for y'all, but not like a significant amount. So like I'm more confident saying something like, if you struggle to spend more with Facebook ads, then like, hey, like this is the group for you. So for me, I'm going to be prioritizing those concepts first from research. Then I'll be kind of having the latter ones all the way towards the bottom. And then for the most part, I want to test about 3 good ad concepts. And each of those ad concepts need to be very different from each other. So it's like, if we want to go after the desire for making money with Shopify store, like I'm going to test 3 different concepts around that. Usually after 3, it's very rare we're going to find more winners after that 3. But at least in the starting, 3 good ad concepts are pretty good around that. Now, analyze performance. This is where we want to start looking at things like, okay, if we test the video and it doesn't work, is there room to improve? If there is, make iterations and test. We had this one particular creative where in the hook I said like, little known fact, Americans are shocked to know. and I said Americans. And our ideal audience was seniors, but I just said Americans in general. I don't know why, what the fuck I was thinking. But we had like a $45 CPL. So I was like, let me change Americans to seniors. That's it. Exact same ad, exact same everything. I just tweaked that one word. And we went from a $45 CPL to a $35 CPL. So we dropped down $10 CPL and we scaled a lot with that account. Like, I think our peak was like 20K in a day, 15, 20K in a day in ad spend. So for me, it's like that was a significant change right there for that iteration because it better called out our ideal audience. That's it. Now, let's say there was no room to improve. Drop it and move on. Like me changing the background color on the call to action screen from like a red to a slightly different color red, that's not going to be a big difference. Like this should be a obvious thing right here. Hey, like this is a very bad looking creative for this reason. Then cool. Like don't even fucking think about it. Just, all right, that's the problem. Cool. Let's go create a new one and launch it. Like a lot of y'all will like, sometimes we'll wait like a week or two for like a very simple creative you can create in like 5 minutes to get approval on before you do it. And it's like sometimes like in those particular cases right there, just fucking make it. And like if it's not going to cost you really anything, make it, roll with it, get the data back. Worst case scenario, it just won't spend. Now, if it's like, hey, I'm about to go spend $12,000 on this video shoot, like, yeah, definitely consult with me before you do something like that. You should have very, very strong confidence there in that perspective before you take that action. And then lastly, did it crush? Like maybe it crushed performance. That's when you can do your variations. And I know this is not Facebook ads in terms of like the creative itself, but I'll look at my YouTube channel just like Facebook ads. I make every video exactly the same way from a Facebook ads perspective. And I dropped this video on December 13th, 2023. How to target your ideal audience in 2024. And that video got 48,000 views and crushed. It did phenomenal. So guess what? 3 months later, I did a variation. 3 ways to target your ideal audience in 2024. Guess what? 48,000 views again and crushed. So let's kind of go over how I did this. First off, these videos are completely different. And how to target your ideal audience in 2024, I literally have like this long presentation of how to use broad targeting, how to use creatives to target your ideal customer, and boom. 3 ways to target your ideal audience in 2024. It's the same thing of how to target your ideal audience, but I go over 3 completely different ways in the video. Where a lot of people fuck up at when they're creating variations is they'll literally do the exact same video with just a new hook. It's like, no, bro, that's not a variation. So like for me, 3 ways to target your ideal audience in 2024. I literally start off with lookalikes, pros and cons of lookalikes, interest audience, pros and cons of interest, and then broad targeting, pros and cons. And then this is my preferred way, which is broad targeting. Here's the success I've had with it. And if you want to know more about it, I filmed this 21-minute long video going over it. And the way I made that variation is just by simply taking your headline sheet that I've already given y'all. Like I've shared this sheet 1,000 times with y'all. I literally just took this sheet and was like, okay, how to target your ideal audience in 2024. Well, measure the size of the claim. I could do maybe an amount of money, or I could do like 3 ways. Boom. So this year, I'm about to go film this video in like a couple different variations with like the speed, how to target your ideal audience in 2024 overnight with Facebook ads and stuff like that. I can go over a few other ones, but very easy of how I created a variation here. And then just to warn y'all, and I know we're on like time's running a little late right now, but hopefully y'all still here. Iteration versus variation dark hole. I just want to warn y'all about this real quick. And this is where I'll see this often. This first happened to me in 2022. 2022, we were working on this supplement brand, and we helped the supplement brand. I think we started with them in like 2021, and we scaled them from like, I think like 30K a month to like 100, 200K a month. And then I kind of just gave it to my team. My team just kept working on it. And from like January 2022 to April 2022, I completely neglected the account because my team was working on it. And it was like, they kind of spiked up a little bit to like 200, 220, 250, and then just kept dropping month over month to where like the client messaged me and said like, hey, what's going on here? And I looked and it was like, oh shit, like we hit 200, but then like fell back down to like 100K. And what I found was that my team just kept iterating and varying on the same exact thing. It's like if I took my YouTube channel, I saw these two videos work, and if every single week for the next 12 weeks, I just posted these three videos, like these two, and then like another one, and just kept posting it week over week, like my channel would die so fast. And that's essentially what happened inside of the ad account. So once there's no more great ideas to iterate, variate on, then just stop. So if you don't see a clear iteration of like, that's a clear thing I can see improve performance, then don't do it. If you do a variation and it's like almost identical to the first one, then guess what? Probably shouldn't do it. Like I said, these are two complete different videos. Whereas if I just said 3 ways and I made them exactly the same, like, and just changed the hook, that'd be terrible. So I just want to warn y'all about that. Tools. Before I go into tools, any questions? A little check up here real quick. Any questions? I promise, I know we have a couple from y'all that y'all asked about like time and all that in terms of research sessions. We're going to get into that right after the tools, but now we're going to get some more tactical stuff. Tools for research. Platforms, Amazon, Facebook ad library, TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, Google Trends. TikTok, y'all know that's probably one of my favorite places to start. It's very easy to consume a lot of content fast. It's not the only platform I use, but it's just one of those platforms where like I can quickly get a lot of content in quickly because of the short form nature of it. And then we'll be going over Foreplay, Google Docs, and NoCommerce. Platforms, this is kind of how I like to look at it. So Amazon, I love the product reviews on Amazon, especially when I'm looking at other people selling the exact same product as me. It's a great way to see that. Facebook ad library, competitors, specifically look at the longest running ads, but I also like to look at like new ads each month. So one problem with just looking at the longest running ads is that if you look at just the longest running ads, what I tend to find is that they're more like your retargeting ads because that's why they're running so long. And then what I really like to look at is like kind of go like month by month. So like I would go look at, okay, is there any ads still running for December? Is there any ads still running from like November? Any still ads running from October? Those are going to give me a little bit more tactical ads that I should probably launch in my account. TikTok, general questions. So, you know, how to deal with diabetes, how to, you know, solve world hunger. Like I'm just searching general questions that my my customer would probably search. Problems my ideal customer might be searching. Desires. So desires I may not see from a search bar, but actually see in the video itself. See what people are talking about. Let's just say, for example, I have a clothing brand. I'm selling women's dresses. And I go search like top 5 women's dresses of 2025. And one girl's talking about this dress, and she's specifically talking about how she can't wait to wear it tonight to go out with her friends. And I see a few more other videos where like they're talking about like this is the perfect dress to go out with your friends with. Then I'm gonna kind of see like, okay, the desire is for a dress to kind of go out with their friends. They want the dress to make her look more beautiful, more confident, stuff like that. Or maybe there's this particular part of it where it's like, you know, this dress is perfect for going out because there's like a two-way mechanism on it that makes it allow it to like, you know, be long, but then like you can kind of pull it up a little bit and like it makes it a little shorter, something like that. Just something weird like that. Comments. Comments are phenomenal when you're looking at TikTok, YouTube, any of these right here. Comments itself, this is where I usually find the most juiciest things because this is where people get vulnerable at. This is where I find things like what products that people have tried before and failed with. This is where I get to see how people are struggling with something, what their day-to-day looks like bad. comments are phenomenal. That's like the golden thing for TikTok and YouTube and Reddit. It's amazing. And then lastly, view count. If I search for a problem or a desire on TikTok and YouTube, and there's very little to no views around that particular desire or problem, likelihood me pushing in an ad is also going to be an issue because barely anyone has that problem or desire. If something has a large problem or large desire, it's going to have a lot more views in it. And then YouTube, exactly the same. The only thing I'm going to add is product reviews to YouTube. I typically find that product reviews are better on YouTube than TikTok. They're a little bit more like longer, a little bit more deeper analysis and all that stuff like that. And I typically just find better videos on YouTube for product reviews. You're not wrong to do product reviews on TikTok, but just again, that's just my personal experience. So if I'm selling a women's legging, I'll probably go on YouTube and search like best women's leggings, find a couple brands, and then start searching Lululemon women's legging review, Gymshark women's legging review. I just typically find better content over there. Whereas TikTok, I'll typically find a little bit more sponsored content. Don't worry, YouTube has a ton of sponsors too, but I just find that TikTok, I just have a little bit more sponsored content. It's short, it's very straightforward. Whereas YouTube, I get a longer, more detailed review, and I really get to see those things that I don't see on like TikTok and stuff like that. Because again, you have like 20 minutes, you can make a video reviewing leggings versus 30 to 60 seconds. And then Reddit questions, pretty simple. Just any questions you have, search them up on Reddit, but just pretend as you're a consumer, right? So best way to deal with diabetes as a 60-year-old senior, how to bring down my handicap in golf. And I like to search those types of questions on Reddit. That's usually where I can find those hidden thoughts as well when I search those types of like deeper level questions. And then next one is Google Trends. I know I just did a video on this recently last week for y'all in the group chat, which is searching desires problems to see the number of people that have that. This is just an example right here. Let's say if we were targeting a product towards hormonal imbalance, this is the number of people that search hormonal imbalance on Google Trends versus the number of people that search can't sleep. Significantly larger group of people, meaning I could scale significantly better with can't sleep. Now, to be fair here though, that's just can't sleep in general. That's not the number of people that can't sleep due to hormonal imbalance. So what I would look at from here is calling out something like little known, or if you can't sleep, here's like some type of new thing that just hit the market that people are struggling with. So, or I tried 5 different things to sleep better, but this is the one thing that actually solved my sleep issues for good. So I try to create more of like an unaware ad to that I can't sleep symptom right there. But definitely good to use Google Trends. I really like that for just kind of searching the different like desires we get, problems we get, and stuff like that for like kind of like ranging their success, or not success, but size of the market stuff right there. Foreplay, we're gonna call that one out real quick. This is a really good one right here. I love to use because it allows me to just build up an ad library from looking at Facebook ad library and stuff. And then what I do is I have a folder, 4 types of folders for me. Ad types, where I have a board for each ad type, specifically like product aware, aware, solution aware, problem aware. I share all of those for y'all in the group chat. If you click on the pinned message and scroll down, I literally have all of those linked for y'all. And that's literally all stuff y'all can access now. Audits, anytime I audit a client's ad account or a prospect's ad account before we go on to like a sales calls and stuff like that, I will do an audit and I'll build them a board of like the different creatives and stuff like that that they can leverage. Client boards. So anytime we sign a client, I'll create a board with any inspo I want to save to that board. And then holidays, this is something new I just set up to where like, okay, here's the Valentine's Day creatives, here's the Black Friday creatives, here's the Christmas creative. So that way I just literally give that to one of my designers and they can go create like 50 ads for that event without me actually having to like sit there and give them like very detailed stuff. And also too for training up and educating you guys. Now, this is a great example right here of Google Docs. So this is an example of a research session I did for one of my clients. This is me free thinking right here. There's no structure at all to this. This is what a typical research session kind of looks for me. For this particular client right here, I think it was like 3 months in working with them, and we were just struggling with finding an angle to crack it. And this was just like like I said, I think this was like 90 days in research right here. So this is going to be a little bit higher of a research angle that you're going to see from me versus like maybe something very basic like what we showed in the beginning right there. And I'll literally just make like different Google Docs and save them. And you can just have a Google Drive folder for each one of your clients or your brand. If you have your own brand, you can literally just do like a research folder where you store all of your research. And then like I'll literally just do like, today is the 24th. I'll do 1/24/2025 research and then boom, put everything in there. Next one is sometimes I'll even do it like this instead, which is kind of like, this is a sheet I just sent over to one of my designers, where like client name, ad ideas. This is one I did about a week ago. And I basically just gave them a few different ad ideas that I wanted done. All of y'all have access to the ad plan. This is Google Sheets right here. This is another tool we use, which can help us store research from another perspective. So you can either do some Google Docs, or you can use it if you want more of like a Google Sheet stuff. This is the ad plan, and all of y'all should have access to this. It's in the course. If you don't have it, let me know, and I'll give y'all access to that. Next thing is no comments. Like I said, this is the one that I mentioned earlier about surveys and stuff for post-purchase surveys. If you want a free way as well, Google Forms is phenomenal. So the difference with no comments in Google Forms is no comments. That one you can do as a post-purchase survey on Shopify. So like the minute someone clicks on like complete order, you ask the question and boom, it's right there. So you get like a much higher response rate. But Google Forms, you can't do it on your Shopify store, but you can do it as a email marketing flow. So you go to Klaviyo, and then you can just have a flow like 1 hour after purchasing and send people a form where they can answer. Here's an example of one of my first ever forms for one of my old clients, which was the metal science client. And like these are just some of the basic level questions we asked them. And it's like if you literally do nothing on today's call, from like a post-purchase survey, like literally just at least set this up. It's so easy. And I mean, I think like over 6 months, we got 216 responses. And the only thing I don't like about this is that we kind of went really deep, like long-winded. But again, just ask the one question you actually want to know from your customers. But these are pretty good, like what I would say evergreen ones. What convinced you to buy from us? How can we improve? If we added a new product to the site and you would purchase it, what would it be? Is there anything you would like to add? And it gives plenty of room for people to go ahead and like give them what I would say like information stuff. Now, last thing, tools for research. I had to hit on AI for a second. I think where a lot of people fuck up with AI is that they use AI to do research for themselves. So like they'll literally like tell AI, hey, I'm selling a golf club. Go back to the golf club, for example. I'm selling a golf club. Tell me more about my ideal customer. It's like, no, you want to feed AI all the research that you've identified, and Claude will only be as good as that research right there you feed it. So a lot of time is I'll have a very rough document like this, and I'll literally just give this to Claude and be like, here's all my research for X product. Please organize it for me. So I'll have all my scribble scrabble, that's what I like to call it. Give it to Claude. Claude will organize it for me, and then it's just like, boom. Next one, please identify the different personas I can go after, plus angles to use. So using all this research I just gave you, what are my different personas? And what are different angles I can use to open up those personas? This one right here, this one's good, but it can also kind of not give you the best answer because it's kind of using a little bit of Claude's knowledge, and it's kind of purely dictating on how much Claude knows about that industry. But what are the questions I'm not asking myself or angles that I'm not seeing, which could work for my product? So basically here, I just did all this research, and I'm really just trying to find what are the unknowns here? What are the things I'm not seeing here from my research? Cool. Any questions around the tools? Let's see. Nicholas said, I feed all of our reviews and build a component that maps out all our pain points. Yeah, that's really cool. I like if I'm ever feeling lazy, like the lazy way to do research, I'll literally just copy in a fuckload of reviews into Claude, and then I'll go and just like tell Claude to tell me like my different pain points, personas, angles. Again, that's the lazy way for research. And yeah, I know I just did a video on YouTube on how to like create ad tutorials, and you'll see in that video I do the lazy way of research, which I'll probably make a video specifically around that just because it's easy. But I wouldn't say it's the best though, if that makes sense. All right, turning into ads, and then we're going to go into research routines, and you guys will be out of here. Thank you all for everyone who is sitting in. Hopefully this was very valuable for y'all. Okay, so turning it research into ads, this is kind of like the 3 key things that I typically see when I'm writing ads. So I'll see an ad I like from either a competitor or from someone selling a product similar to me, and I'll just recreate it. But I'll figure out how I can do it better or for my research or for my niche. So like, let me give you a great example. Let's say I create a Facebook ad, or let's say I'm selling my agency services, and I see another Facebook ad agency also selling agency services through Facebook ads. And I see their call out a unique mechanism. Well, I'm gonna call out a unique mechanism as well, but I'm gonna use my own unique mechanism. For me, it was emotion baiting. When I started calling that out, people liked it a lot. I really need to start hitting on that again. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna create my own unique mechanism. I'm gonna copy their ad of how they structured it, but I'm gonna use my own unique mechanism and present my own unique way of getting results, same way they did there in their ad right there. So I kind of want to copy like the structure and kind of the core components of it like that, and just do it better in terms of like my mechanism is better. Another way is I look at something from a completely different niche. So for example, I saw an ad that was like for like a dating guide or something like that. It was like a Tinder ad I saw. And it was like POV used the Tinder swipe file, and you went from getting left on red to like 100 matches in a week. So I said, okay. So I recreated that ad, and it was like POV, you started using ads.scalebook.com, and now you do 100K days, something like that. Or now you find winning ads consistently, and it crushed for my ebook. So I just took it from a completely different niche and I copied it because it was completely from a completely different niche. Or like I said, I'll just do it better. If it's in my same niche and we're selling the same product, I just want to make the ad better. If it's from a completely different niche, then I can literally just copy because it's completely different niches. Next one is organic post. I literally take the exact same approach with organic post. It's just the only difference here is that with organic posts is that organic posts are not meant to be sales mechanisms. So if the organic post doesn't really have a sales aspect to it, then I want to look at how can I improve that organic post to also make sure we're getting a good call to action. This is usually where I edit the last half of the ad. So I'll keep like the first part of the organic post right, and then the last half is usually where I kind of gear it more towards make sure there's a specific call to action to it. And then lastly is fresh ideas. This is where I'm looking at all my research I did. And that's when I start looking at it from an awareness perspective and sophistication perspective. So that's when I then start looking at, okay, is my market problem aware? Is my market solution aware? Is what sophistication I want to play in? And that gives me 3 types of ads I can create. There's some that I can just rip and throw in the account. Then there's some that's more like geared specifically to awareness, sophistication, all those good things. And then this is the sheet that I already shared with y'all. We already did a call with y'all on this, where it goes through all the different stages of awareness. And then each stage kind of hits on a sophistication perspective with, things like this right there. So yeah, that's how we do it from an ad perspective. Luca, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how do you usually find competitors? Because for my product, at least, the product has been existing for like the past 10 years, and I don't seem to find anyone running this on Facebook ads, but I feel like there should be some competition at least.
Yeah, so I'll look at it from a couple different ways to find competitors. Number one, searching on Amazon. Searching on Amazon, note all the brands selling it, or at least like the top 5 brands that are selling it, and then try to find their website. And then if you find their website, go to their Facebook ads library. That's one way. Another way, search your product on YouTube, and then see all the people, the different brands selling that product from like product reviews and stuff. And then from there, same thing, find their website, go to their Facebook ads library. If you go to a bunch of different competitors and they're not selling that product with Facebook ads, it's either A, like you found a really good product that you can push with Facebook ads because no one else is pushing it. And I've seen quite a few people like on like dropshipping communities and stuff that's their strategy. They go try to find products that's been around for a while that no one's using Facebook ads to scale. And that's how they have that blue ocean market. Or complete opposite. It's not being pushed with Facebook ads because people have tried already and they just didn't see success with it. So
Let's hope it's the
it can
blue
be
ocean.
either way. All right, cool. Any other questions about turning research into ads before I get into routines? So I know there's a lot of questions around the routine side. All right, cool. Wrap up here. Last 5 or so minutes. Thank y'all for kind of sticking around this long. Let's go into research routines now. This will be the last part. Biggest things I see with research is staying locked in. Daily sessions get boring and how long each session needs to be. So let's start off first with just kind of how to approach each session. In the beginning, it's gonna be very easy. Like in the beginning, you're kind of just going through those like 5 levels that we talked about and answering all those questions about your customer that you can. So yeah, it's pretty easy, I would say, like that first week. But when you're 30 days in, I mean, there's some accounts that we're like years in right now. This is where research is going to have a different objective each time. So usually when I've been working with a product for a very long time, it's not necessarily, hey, let me go look at competitors' ads. It's going to be more something like, hey, how do active seniors who work out every day feel about having diabetes? Or I might go read a 30-page article over a couple of days learning more about diabetes. Or what does AG1 use to get so many subscribers? So I may want to like go and improve like let's say, for example, my brand has a subscribe and save mechanism on the website. And okay, what are some brands that are using subscribe and save? Even though they're completely irrelevant to mine. Okay, AG1. How is AG1 positioning their offer to work so well? And it's like, oh, okay, cool. And I go break down their funnel. Then the other aspect of research might just be essentially as like looking at other sales mechanisms. Storytelling, for example. Maybe I want to improve my storytelling for like unaware ads. Well, who's some phenomenal storytellers? And some of the people that have given the best presentations of like stories and stuff like that is like pastors at mega churches. Like the amount of people they can pull up to that mega church, how can they present well, convey ideas very well? Can you go watch a few like church ceremonies in a way? And like you start looking at outside of your niche, your product, but you're looking at other niches to understand key things those niches are doing well to bring in and apply to your product right there. Some days I'll literally just go and like scroll for 30 minutes. I'll set a timer and my only goal is, hey, I'm just going to go scroll through Gym Talk. I have no goal but to sit there and scroll on TikTok for 30 minutes. I think that's probably the easiest research session in your life. But those are some of the best sessions because that's where I get to start to see macro trends where I'm not really focusing on my gym specific product, but more from a macro perspective of what's some big wins in the gym niche, what's some hidden fears in the gym niche, what are some trends in the gym niche right now. And then guess what? I'm just writing down anything that I notice and catches my attention right there. This is also something I've brought up to y'all many, many, many times, which is the 4 main levers of scaling a brand. And as I kind of showed y'all in this one right here, what does AG1 use to get more subscribers? I will literally do like this research routine right here. Maybe we're doing a ton of creative right now. We're converting really well. Maybe I want to improve my landing page. Maybe I'll spend 30 minutes one day just researching different brands' landing pages and start to note down all the different like sales mechanisms they have on that landing page. And now I understand what are some things that I can maybe bring to my page. That's a research session right there. Maybe I want to improve my AOV. I want to go spend 30 minutes one day just looking at different brands in my niche and seeing what they're doing for their AOV. Same thing for LTV as well. Easy one for LTV. Have people vote. That's a good one. Those are like clothing brands and t-shirt brands. I'll always tell people like have your customers vote on new product launches. Even if you don't have a t-shirt or clothing brand, survey your customers to see what other problems they're struggling with, and then see what they want, and then create the content for them what they wanted. Like, there's been things I did in the inner circle that I literally just asked y'all. Hey, like I remember for the OG people in here, I used to not do a one-on-one call. It used to just be these weekly calls in the group chat. And then I literally asked y'all, hey, would y'all want to do a one-on-one call? And like, sure, everyone said yes. And then once I started introducing the one-on-one call, like LTV 3x'd over time for me. So very little things like that you can do. Just survey your customers. They'll give you so much good feedback. And then I hate to make you wait this long, Marcus, if you're still in here, but I know this is your big question, how to stay locked in. So I'll give you a few tips on staying locked in real quick. Some ethical and some not so ethical tips real quick. So dedicated spot to do market research. This is a really big one. I'll give y'all some examples. I don't know how many people in here work out. Like if you actually work out and like go to the gym every day, out of those people right there, like I don't know how many of y'all have ever tried to work out at home. Like I don't know about y'all, but I cannot work out at home. Like I used to have like my boxing coach, my old boxing coach, come over here like to my house, and like we would do like a boxing session like in my front driveway, and it would be the worst session ever. But like some days I would just be so locked up at meetings. I'm just like, bro, meet me over here. And there's just something from like a mental aspect of doing certain things. You need to be in different environments. So like, for example, when I have technically go to 2 different gyms right now. I go to a boxing gym, and then I go to a gym that's now like specifically for cardio and conditioning for boxing. And it's like when I go to that cardio and conditioning one, like I'm already mentally zoned in, like, hey, today's gonna be a cardio intensive day. And then when I go to my boxing gym, like I'm already mentally geared for like, hey, we're sparring, we're hitting something today. So when you move to different aspects, even bring this into like other levels, like I have my couch that like I only sit on like one part of the couch when I'm watching TV at night. And if I try to bring my laptop with me when I sit down in that same spot, almost zero work gets done. Because I'm mentally wired for like, that's my relaxation, calming, relaxing session right there. So different spots in my house, I try to have different activities throughout the day, whether it's relaxation, whether it's eating, whether it's working on ads, whether it's doing calls. Like I have a chair right now in my living room. That's the only time I do calls is when I sit in that chair right there. Besides like the inner circle call when I sit right here. I have my like dedicated studio where I go film my YouTube videos and stuff like that. I have different places throughout my house for certain activities. And like some of y'all may not be like have that yet. Where like maybe you only have like one room, for example, or maybe like you live in a small area, then have different spots within that room, different chairs, for example, in that room, that you do certain things, certain activities. You know, like you can go to a coffee shop. Coffee shops are great because, you know, pretty much all y'all are probably gonna live by a coffee shop. You can go to a something that's super, super, super underrated is hotel lobbies. Super underrated right there. Definitely recommend checking out some hotel lobbies if you like, you don't have like a huge place and you want like some new spots to check out. Hotel lobbies, phenomenal for networking and also too from working. And then I'm a big fan of cigars, so I like to go to my cigar lounge once a week. So long story short, what I'm getting here is have a lot of different places that you can do different activities. So you could have your one spot that you do all your market research. Another spot you actually like kind of like write the ads, which to be fair for me, like my market research and my ad writing spot is the same. I like both of those being together. But like where I do my calls at, I don't like to do my research at. So like just kind of give you that perspective right there. And then if financially possible, have a whole separate computer for market research. I personally can afford it, but I just don't do it because I love this computer. I just bought right here. So I personally still don't do this one, but I know this even helped out some people where it's like you have a whole separate device specifically for market research. So some of y'all may have like this nice fancy like big custom built gaming PC you do all your work on and everything like that. But for other people, maybe you have like a laptop separately too. So you have your big PC you do all your hardcore work on, and then you have like a little laptop that you can bring like to a coffee shop to do like some research and stuff like that. Now, I've noticed two differences here with doing market research in the morning versus doing market research at night. Personally, for me, I like doing market research in the morning because it's the highest possible leverage action I can do. It's where I'm gonna get all my ad ideas for my clients, which is gonna give my clients better results, which is gonna make me more money. So, and give me better things to teach y'all and make YouTube content. So like market research for me is just A1 first thing in the morning. That's what I like. But I also know that some downsides of doing market research in the morning is that you maybe have too much energy. And like some people with too much energy, they can't focus. So another time I've also seen work really well is nighttime. So like maybe like for those who like work a little bit later at night, I've found that at nighttime I can also have some really good focus and concentration with market research because it's a little bit more quiet. I can get into some deeper thoughts, but also too, there's a more probability of something happening at night where like you get an invite from your friends to grab some food. Maybe you have a wife or a girlfriend and like she wants to spend time with you. So like I also know some nighttime also has more distractions. But those who like a little bit more quiet, a little bit more calm, and they feel like they can get those deeper concentration at night, that's also a good time too for market research. You can experiment with music versus no music. I don't think there's really like a clear like I just know some people that prefer working with music and some people that prefer with no music at all. You should already probably know that by now, which one you can focus on. I know for me, I like some lo-fi beats. That's what I really like when I'm doing my research and stuff and like writing my ads, a little bit of lo-fi beats, and I can like roll. And then the last one, kind of more of like what drugs you can do. Sometimes for me, I love a good little glass of wine or like a little glass of whiskey when I'm doing my research. Now, like I'm not drinking enough to where like I'm getting drunk. Like I'm literally only doing one glass, and like one glass will last me like 2 hours. So it's not like I'm like chugging a glass every hour, but little whiskey, little wine, little red wine specifically. I love to do that when I do like my nighttime research session. If only if I save my research for at night, I'll do the alcohol. If I'm doing like research midday, which for me, I go to a cigar shop every Saturday midday, and I just love a good cigar sitting down and research. Now, for me, I can't do a cigar every day. Like one a week is my like go-to. Last weekend I was in Miami and we did like one every day, and shoot, I'm dead right now from that. But yeah, for me, like I like do like a cigar like once a week. So I like a good cigar. I'm doing research and some of my busy work and stuff like that. And then caffeine. Me personally, I love caffeine, and that's something that I am not trying to give up. So, but again, I know with caffeine, some people can get overstimulated. So this is also where kind of like you just need to kind of understand yourself. I know for me, if I have too much caffeine, I cannot sit down and focus. Like I'm all over the place. So you kind of have to find that happy median right there. And I'll literally just say versus sober because some of y'all like none of this helps y'all out at all. So yeah. So hopefully it helps you out, Marcus, with this thing locked inside. And then the last huge question for y'all before I let y'all go is how long each session? And in the beginning, I tell people 20 to 30 minutes a day just to build the habit. And usually what will happen with every session is that the first 5 minutes, you'll be kind of warming up. Or like the first 5 minutes you sit down and do market research, that's the hardest part because you don't really know yet kind of like what to dive into. And you should, if you set the objective correctly before you jump into that session. But maybe you don't, and you're kind of a little bit all over the place. And that first 5 minutes be like, eh. But then the next 15 to 25 minutes, that's where everything should start just flowing naturally right there. So in the beginning, 20, 30 minutes a day. That's just because it's like when you're getting started, you don't really know how to gauge anything. So like that's a good gauge right there. Now, for me, I don't really time it anymore. I just kind of go with the flow because I kind of know what a good session will look like for me. And there's some days I get in and after 5 minutes of researching, I have a really good idea and I just go take action on it. There's other days I'll spend 4 hours researching a market before I finally feel like I have enough information, then I can start writing. Just depends. That's why it's like it kind of depends on what your objective is for that session right there. Of do you need a little bit more time? Do you need a little less time to push that forward right there? So yeah, that's everything.